clip was only 12 seconds long, but it shook the timeline like an earthquake. Grainy night footage, luxury gates, familiar silhouettes stepping out of blacked-out SUVs, and the caption that sent fans into a frenzy: "Why are 50s people at T.I.'s house right now?" Fans are shocked because the timing couldn't be crazier. It dropped less than 24 hours after King Harris's latest song went viral and lit the internet on fire. According to what's circulating right now, the footage allegedly shows affiliates tied to 50 Cent pulling up to the Atlanta mansion of T.Y. late at night. No smiles, no cameras, no explanations. Just quiet movement and a whole lot of speculation. Emotions ran high almost instantly because people started asking the same question: was this business? Or something way more personal? What makes it even messier is the song at the center of it all. King Harris just dropped a track that fans swear had coded lines, subtle shots, and energy that felt aimed at someone specific. Some listeners say it sounded like a warning. Others say it sounded like frustration spilling over. Either way, once that song started trending, all eyes were already on the Harris household. So, when this footage surfaced, the internet connected the dots fast. Witnesses online claim voices could be heard in the background of the video. Others swear they spotted familiar faces linked to past industry beefs. One fan commented, "This ain't random," while another said, "Why now, of all times?" The family was left divided as supporters debated whether this was a coincidence, a private meeting, or a message being sent without words. And here's the part nobody can agree on. Was T.I. even home? Some say yes. Some say the meeting happened without him. Some say King Harris didn't even know until after. But when you mix viral music, legacy names, and late-night pull-ups, emotions run high and rumors move faster than facts. So before you dismiss this as internet reach, ask yourself why this footage exists at all, and why it showed up exactly when it did. Because if this was just business, somebody would have said that by now. And if it wasn't, then this might be the start of a situation nobody saw coming. Once the footage started circulating, the energy around the situation shifted immediately from curiosity to tension. People who usually brushed off late-night pull-up rumors suddenly stopped laughing, because the timing felt too sharp to ignore. Fans are shocked because this wasn't some blurry driveway clip from years ago. This was current, recent, and lining up perfectly with a moment when emotions were already running high due to King Harris's song taking over timelines. The comments filled up fast with people saying, "This don't feel like coincidence," and others warning everyone to slow down before turning speculation into headlines. According to whispers moving through Atlanta, the night of the footage wasn't random at all. Some claim the mansion had been unusually quiet earlier that evening, with family members keeping things low-key after the song went viral. People say T.I. had been dealing with non-stop calls, texts, and opinions from every direction, trying to balance being a father and a rap legend at the same time. Emotions ran high because King's record wasn't just music to many listeners. It sounded personal, layered with frustration about legacy, pressure, and respect. As the song continued spreading, insiders claim it caught attention far beyond fans. Industry ears perked up. Old relationships started resurfacing. According to one rumor, someone close to the situation said, "That record hit a nerve," hinting that certain lines were being interpreted as more than artistic expression. Fans are shocked because once lyrics start getting decoded like messages, the stakes automatically rise. The footage itself only added fuel. Dark vehicles. Minimal conversation. No entourage energy, just movement. Some viewers swear they recognize body language tied to people who don't show up unless something serious is being discussed. Others argued it was just business being handled discreetly. The family was left divided as supporters debated whether this was about protecting King from industry blowback or addressing something deeper brewing behind the scenes. Inside the household, according to speculation, the mood wasn't celebratory despite the song's success. King Harris was allegedly proud of the attention, but also overwhelmed by how quickly things escalated. One rumoured moment describes him asking, "Why everybody acting like I crossed a line?" That question alone sparked heated debates among fans about whether young artists should be allowed to speak freely, especially when their last name carries weight. T.I., on the other hand, was said to be caught in the middle. People close to him claim he felt torn between standing behind his son's voice and managing the realities of the industry he's been part of for decades. Emotions ran high because being a father doesn't stop you from being an executive, and being an executive doesn't cancel out family loyalty. That balancing act is something fans felt watching this unfold in real time. As speculation spread, different versions of the story started popping up. Some said the affiliates were there to squash misunderstandings before they turned into public narratives. Others claimed the visit was about sending a quiet message. Not threatening, but firm. Fans are shocked by how divided the interpretations are because the same footage looks harmless to some and ominous to others. Online, reactions grew louder by the hour. Some fans praised King Harris for speaking his truth, saying the pull-up proved his voice mattered. Others accused him of unintentionally inviting attention he wasn't ready for. Emotions ran high as people argued whether legacy kids get more grace or more pressure. The family was left divided watching strangers debate their personal dynamics like it was a reality show. What complicated things even more was the silence. No immediate statements, no clarifications, no denial that the footage was real. That quiet made people uncomfortable. Their fans are shocked because in an era where everything gets addressed instantly, silence often feels deliberate. Some saw it as maturity. Others saw it as confirmation that something serious was being handled off-camera. As the night footage continued looping across platforms, old industry history started getting dragged back into conversations. Past alliances, old beefs, unfinished business people thought was long settled. Emotions ran high as fans connected dots across decades, and wondering if King's song accidentally reopened doors nobody planned to walk through. By the end of the day, what started as a viral track had turned into a layered situation involving family, reputation, and power dynamics. The footage didn't explain anything. It only raised more questions. Who called who? Who approved the visit? And most importantly, was this about protecting peace or preparing for conflict? What fans are shocked because moments like this remind everyone how fast things can shift in hip-hop. One song, one clip, one night, and suddenly, everybody's paying attention, arguing over whether they just witnessed a business meeting, a warning, or the opening scene of a story that's only getting started. As the footage kept circulating, new layers of the story started creeping out that made everything feel even more uneasy. People close to the Atlanta scene began whispering that the visit wasn't spontaneous, but the result of conversations that had already been happening quietly for days. Fans are shocked because that would mean the viral song didn't just spark reactions online. It may have accelerated talks that were already bubbling beneath the surface. According to rumours, King Harris's record didn't just trend, it landed in rooms he didn't expect. Some listeners claim certain lines felt less like flexing and more like frustration, touching on respect, legacy, and being boxed in by a famous last name. Emotions ran high when people started saying the song sounded like a young artist, pushing back against expectations placed on him before he even chose them. That interpretation gained traction fast, especially among fans who see themselves in that struggle. Behind closed doors, sources claim the reactions weren't all supportive. Some industry figures allegedly felt the record blurred lines that should stay unspoken, especially given how interconnected certain camps still are. One rumor says someone close to the situation warned, "Once people think it's about them, it ain't just music anymore." Fans are shocked because that line sums up why the mansion footage felt so heavy. It looked like people responding to perception, not confirmation. Inside the Harris household, the emotional divide reportedly deepened. King was allegedly energized by the attention, but confused by how quickly things escalated beyond music. One supposed moment had him saying, "I just dropped a song. as if trying to ground himself in the simplicity of it all. Meanwhile, others in the house were said to be more cautious, aware of how quickly situations can spiral when names, pride, and history mix. T.I., according to Whispers, was navigating a tight emotional corner. On one side, he had his son finding his voice and gaining traction. On the other, he had decades of experience knowing how easily narratives can turn into problems. Emotions ran high as people close to him say he stressed the importance of context, reminding those around him that interpretation can be just as powerful as intention. The footage itself started being broken down frame by frame. Fans analysed who arrived first, how long the vehicles stayed, and who didn't step out into view. Some swore they recognised familiar movements associated with serious conversations, not social visits. Others argued that reading body language from a clip was irresponsible. The family was left divided, watching strangers argue over seconds of video like it was undeniable proof of something bigger. Another twist came when rumours suggested the visit may not have been about conflict at all, but about protection. Some claimed the affiliates wanted to ensure the situation didn't turn into something uncontrollable once the song reached certain ears. Fans are shocked because that reframes the narrative completely, from intimidation to intervention. Still, without confirmation, that version only added to the confusion. Online reactions grew more intense as creators jumped in with theories. Some praised T.I. for allegedly handling things privately instead of letting the internet escalate it further, while others accused everyone involved of moving secretive, saying transparency would have killed the rumours faster. Emotions ran high as supporters of King Harris clashed with critics who felt he wasn't ready for the consequences of being so visible. What complicated things further was the resurfacing of old clips and interviews. Fans dug up moments where T.I. talked about discipline, responsibility, and legacy, replaying them alongside King's lyrics as if they were responses to each other. The internet framed it as a generational conversation playing out in real time, with the mansion footage acting like punctuation at the end of a sentence nobody agreed on. People close to the situation allegedly tried to calm the noise, urging everyone to stop speculating and let things settle. But that advice rarely works once a story reaches this level. Fans are shocked because silence once again became the loudest detail. No denial of the visit, no explanation of its purpose. Just the clip, a looping endlessly, collecting meaning with every repost. As the hours passed, the conversation drifted from what happened to what could happen next. Would King respond musically? Would T.I. speak publicly? Would more footage surface? Emotions ran high as each possibility felt like it could tip the situation in a different direction. By the end of the day, one thing was clear. The mansion visit wasn't being seen as a standalone moment anymore. It was being folded into a larger narrative about power, voice, and how quickly youth expression can collide with industry reality. Fans are shocked because what began as a song release now felt like the opening chapters of a story that involved far more than music. A story where family, reputation, and unspoken rules were all in play at the same time. As the story kept unfolding, the tension reportedly shifted from speculation to something more personal and uncomfortable. All people close to the situation began saying the real pressure wasn't coming from the internet anymore, but from the conversations happening behind closed doors. Fans are shocked because what looked like an outside situation slowly turned inward, putting relationships, egos, and trust under a microscope. According to Whispers, King Harris started feeling the weight of his moment in a way he hadn't anticipated. The song was doing numbers, gaining respect, and sparking debate, but the attention also came with consequences he wasn't fully prepared for. One alleged moment had him saying, "I didn't think it'd turn into all this," reflecting the gap between artistic intention and real-world reaction. Emotions ran high because fans could see a young artist realizing that visibility doesn't come with a pause button. Inside the household, conversations reportedly became more serious. People claim there were long talks about how quickly things can escalate when legacy names are involved. I was allegedly firm but measured, reminding everyone that music has power whether you want it to or not. Fans are shocked because it painted a picture of a father trying to guide without silencing, knowing firsthand how the industry responds to perceived challenges. Meanwhile, the presence of people linked to 50 Cent continued to dominate the narrative. Even without new footage, once the idea of that visit lingered. Some insiders claimed the message was already delivered simply by showing up. Others insisted the meeting was calm, almost boring, and nowhere near as dramatic as the internet made it seem. The family was left divided watching these two extremes fight for dominance online. Another layer of drama came from the idea that not everyone around King agreed on how he should move next. Some allegedly encouraged him to double down musically, saying this was how voices get heard. Others urged caution, worried that responding too quickly could lock him into a narrative he didn't choose. Emotions ran high as fans debated whether restraint or expression was the smarter move. Online, the audience began turning analytical. Supporters replayed King's song line by line, defending it as honest and necessary. Critics labelled it reckless, arguing that certain doors don't need to be opened publicly. Fans are shocked by how split the reactions became, especially among people who claim to want the best for him. The divide wasn't about talent, it was about timing and awareness. What made things even more tense was the silence from outside camps. No public denial, no confirmation, no clarification. That quiet created space for imagination to run wild. Fans are shocked because in hip-hop history, silence has often meant something was being handled privately. And that idea alone fueled anxiety. Rumours also began circulating that mutual contacts were trying to cool things down behind the scenes. Calls placed, messages sent, feelers extended, not to escalate, but to make sure nothing spiraled. Emotions ran high because that suggested people saw potential risk in letting the situation breathe on its own. Some fans viewed that as smart prevention. Others saw it as proof that the song hit harder than people wanted to admit. Inside the Harris family, according to speculation, emotions were mixed. Pride in King's confidence, concern about the spotlight, frustration with how quickly narratives form. The family was left divided not by love, but by perspective. One alleged comment summed it up. You can't control how people hear you, only why you spoke. As days passed, the footage became less about who showed up and more about what it symbolized. Power dynamics, generational shifts, the collision between youth expression and industry memory. Fans are shocked because the conversation evolved into something much larger than a single night at a mansion. What stood out most was how fragile moments of success can be. One song created momentum, but also scrutiny. One video created curiosity, but also fear. Emotions ran high because everyone involved seemed aware that the next move, or lack of one, could define how this chapter is remembered. And through all of it, King Harris remained at the center, whether he wanted to be or not. Fans watched closely, projecting their own experiences onto his situation. Some saw a young man finding his voice. Others saw a lesson unfolding in real time. The family was left divided watching that projection happen, and knowing that real life doesn't pause just because the internet is watching. By this point, the situation no longer felt explosive. It felt unresolved, quiet, tense, and waiting. And in hip-hop, those are often the moments that matter most, because when nothing is said publicly, everything is being said privately. By the time this chapter unfolded, the tension had settled into something heavier than shock. It felt like watchful silence. People close to the situation said the loudest thing wasn't what was being said, but what wasn't. No new footage, no follow-up posts, no public explanations. Fans are shocked because in a culture where everything gets addressed instantly, this level of restraint felt intentional, almost strategic, like everyone involved understood that one wrong move could turn curiosity into chaos. According to whispers from Atlanta, the aftermath of that night forced a series of uncomfortable conversations that couldn't be dodged anymore. Not arguments, but reality checks. King Harris was allegedly confronted with the reality that his voice now carried weight beyond streaming numbers. One source claimed he listened more than he spoke during those talks, realizing that expression doesn't exist in a vacuum when legacy, power, and history are attached to your last name. Or emotions ran high because that realization doesn't come with applause. It comes with pressure. Inside the household, the mood reportedly shifted from defense to reflection. Some family members were said to feel relieved that nothing escalated publicly. Others remained uneasy, believing the quiet was only temporary. The family was left divided between those who saw the night as a warning and those who viewed it as proof that respect was still being maintained behind closed doors. One alleged comment captured it best: just because nothing happened doesn't mean nothing was said. Outside the home, the conversation among peers reportedly turned cautious. Friends and associates began advising patience, reminding everyone that reactions last longer than moments. Fans are shocked because the advice being whispered didn't sound like fear. It sounded like experience. People who had seen situations spiral before seemed determined not to let momentum turn into misunderstanding. The internet, meanwhile, started experiencing fatigue. The theories slowed, the hot takes cooled, but the curiosity never disappeared. Fans rewatched the clip, not looking for new clues, but reassessing what they thought they saw the first time. Was the presence intimidating? Or was it respectful? Was it about power or prevention? Emotions ran high because the same footage now felt different depending on how much time had passed. What became clearer was that King Harris's song had shifted the conversation in ways nobody anticipated. Supporters continued praising his honesty, saying he spoke for a generation tired of being boxed in. Critics remained skeptical, arguing that awareness matters as much as courage. The family was left divided watching a debate unfold that no one in the room the night of the visit ever agreed to participate in. Another layer of tension came from the possibility that this moment would follow King longer than the song itself. People whispered about how first impressions stick in the industry, how narratives form early and rarely reset. Emotions ran high because fans could see a young artist standing at a crossroads between expression and expectation, trying to navigate a space that even veterans struggle with. What's striking is how quickly the story evolved from what happened to what does this mean. The mansion footage stopped being about individuals and became symbolic, a visual reminder of how fast things move when music, legacy, and perception collide. Fans are shocked because the situation never exploded. It hovered, unresolved, lingering in the background like a paused scene. By now, it was clear that no immediate follow-up was coming. No diss tracks, no statements, no receipts. Just distance and discretion. Some fans praised that maturity, others felt it robbed them of closure. The family was left divided, watching strangers demand answers to questions that may never be meant for the public. What lingered most was the lesson unfolding in real time. One song can change how rooms react to you. One clip can rewrite how moments are remembered. Emotions ran high because everyone involved seemed to understand that this wasn't about winning or losing. It was about navigating a space where respect is measured as much by silence as by sound. And so the story didn't end with a confrontation or a headline-grabbing statement. It ended in quiet recalibration. A young voice learning how loud it really is. A family protecting its own while adjusting to new realities. And an industry watching closely. Knowing that moments like this don't disappear. They wait. Fans are shocked not because something dramatic happened, but because something dramatic didn't. And in hip-hop, those are often the moments that matter most. So now it's your turn to weigh in. Because this situation didn't come with a clear ending. It came with questions. After seeing how one viral song, one quiet night, and one short clip shifted the entire conversation, you have to ask yourself what you really think happened. Fans are shocked because nothing exploded publicly, yet everything feels different. And sometimes that kind of silence speaks louder than any statement ever could. Do you believe the visit was simply business being handled the grown way, away from cameras and chaos? Or do you feel it was a subtle message sparked by King Harris's record hitting nerves people didn't expect? Emotions ran high throughout this whole moment because it touched on so much more than music: legacy, respect, power, and what happens when a new voice speaks in a space full of history. And let's keep it real. If you were king, would you double down and keep expressing yourself, no matter who's watching? Or would you slow down, read the room, and protect your long game? If you were T.I., would you let your son find his way freely, or step in early knowing how fast situations can flip? The family was left divided, and honestly, so are the fans. That's why we want to hear from you. Was this a warning? A protective move? Or just the internet connecting dots that were never meant to be connected? Do you think the silence afterwards shows maturity or unfinished business? And most importantly, do you feel moments like this help young artists grow, or do they put pressure on them too early? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is far from over. Like this video if you felt the tension, subscribe if you want stories that live in the grey areas, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. Because in hip-hop, not every story ends with noise. Some end with quiet shifts that change everything.